One thing. Ah, shit, you're killing me. I had two things in mind. Yeah, I had two things in mind. Well, the one, okay, the one thing, let's do with the one thing first. I think, like I said, it has to come down to core activation, right? So if you're listening to this or watching this right now, take your two fingers and put them on the top of your hip bones and then come in about halfway towards your belly button, right? And now push into your stomach right there. And you're going to push real hard into your stomach. Now, all I want you to do is push your fingers out with your abdominal muscles and do that and keep it there while you're able to breathe and talk and move your legs and so on and so forth. And you'll notice the moment you start to breathe, you lose your intra-abdominal pressure. And the moment you lose your intra-abdominal pressure, you lose the stability of your spine. You lose the stability of your core. If you guys have tried this right now, try it seriously. Take those two fingers right next to your belly button at hip level, push them out, and then keep that while you walk, while you stand up, while you sit down, while you talk, while you breathe. And I guarantee you're going to be like, whoa, this is harder than it sounds. So that is essentially what James and I call core activation, all right? And so you can learn how to activate your core just by sitting there, but learning how to move your limbs independently from each other while activating your core is a whole different animal. So I think that core activation is definitely number one. And number two is something that I've become kind of known for in the industry, which is creating a logical progression from point A to point B. And so if you look at the way I designed this upcoming ab training program, the first phase is all about core activation, and the second phase is all about progressive movement. But unlike what I did with CT50, which people loved and it was fantastic, but the biggest problem we saw with that was that a lot of people couldn't jump from like a level 1 or a beginner exercise to like a level 2 or kind of a beginner intermediate exercise. There was no gap right there. So I use what I'm calling micro progression technology with these ab workouts, which basically means we take subtle changes. Like imagine doing a lying leg raise with your hands under your butt. And the next progression is you do it with your hands, palms facing up next to your hips, and then your hands out to your sides, and then your hands over your face, right? And each little tiny step makes you significantly stronger, but it's so small that you barely notice it. That way you can follow a sequence of well-designed progressive movement workouts from point A to point B, and you can go from 0 to six-pack abs, my man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love how you hit so hard on progressions because that's so important in that.
Oh, yeah. And small ones, dude. The smallest progressions you could ever have. So that way people don't ever feel intimidated from jumping from one level to the next.
Cool, man. That's awesome. So tell us where we can find a little bit more about the 0 to 6-pack doctor that you mentioned in your story. Where can we find out more about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. So we're just coming up with this new product. It's called 0 to 6-pack abs, and the website is 0-6packabs.com. And on that page, you'll find my story about how I kind of discovered this core activation stuff. And some people might read it and think it's marketing mumbo jumbo, but that story is like 100% true. It was a series of kind of strange events that happened when my wife was giving birth to our daughter. And it was all bad, all bad, all bad, all bad. And then ultimately led me to meeting the guy I keep referring to on this show, which is Dr. James Vager, who's now a really good friend of mine, one of the most brilliant physical therapists I've ever met in my life. And he helped my wife fix her core after a cesarean section. He helped my daughter, who had some hip issues, to move better, to learn how to crawl. And it was a combination of all that, including watching my daughter actually go through the primal movement patterns, the infant motor patterns that James teaches, all at the same time. And it was like, oh my God, we need to put this in something that's easy to follow for people. So if you go to 0to6packabs.com, you can check out the new product. If you go to garagewarrior.com, you can learn more about me, check out my blog post, join my newsletter, whatever. So that's where you can find me, my man.
Cool, guys. So that was Tyler Bramlett with another amazing interview. This is the third interview we've had in about a year and a half. Awesome to have him on the call. I'm going to sign out. This is Jason with leanbodymovement.com. See you guys later.